5 years ago, if an altercation broke out behind a Nashville bar or in the shadows of a parking lot, details generally stayed between the people involved. Security professionals operated with a reasonable expectation of privacy. Today, nearly every bystander carries a high-definition recording device in their pocket, ready to document any public confrontation. The second that lens appears, the dynamic of an interaction immediately shifts. It pulls both the guard and the subject out of a private negotiation and forces them onto a public stage. Some guards freeze under this sudden scrutiny. They lock up, move rigidly, or start awkwardly narrating their actions out loud. Others feel the pressure clock ticking and rush their decisions, trying to force a quick resolution before the crowd grows. On the other side of the lens, the person being detained realizes they have an audience. They often become combative or highly theatrical, playing up their grievances for the camera. Standard de-escalation techniques frequently break down under these conditions. A quiet, measured verbal command loses its effectiveness when the subject is actively performing for an unseen internet audience. The isolated private security encounter is effectively extinct in Tennessee. Every shift is now a high-stakes performance, carrying legal consequences that outlast the physical confrontation. Because cameras capture raw visuals, juries and the public tend to assume they provide an objective record of events. But smartphone video is a deeply flawed narrator. This minimalist timeline illustrates the concept of contextual isolation. Notice the small bracket at the very end. That bracket represents the final seconds of a confrontation, the moment a guard issues a firm command or uses force. When a bystander starts recording late, the preceding 90% of the interaction, the quiet warnings, the rising tension, the subject's initial aggression is practically erased. The viewer only sees that isolated amber segment. This creates a significant baiting problem. Subjects deliberately provoke a reaction, knowing their friends are only pressing record to capture the guard's breaking point. Because lenses inherently create these temporal blind spots, a perfectly justified intervention can look like an unprovoked attack. A 15-second clip missing crucial context can turn standard procedure into a massive civil liability. Under state law, Tennessee is a one-party consent state. That means anyone involved in a conversation can legally record it without asking for permission. When security professionals operate in public-facing venues like bars, retail stores, or apartment complexes, courts determine they have a reduced expectation of privacy. You cannot legally demand a bystander delete their footage. However, legality in the street is different from admissibility in the courtroom. To introduce that footage as evidence against a guard, the plaintiff must pass Tennessee Rule of Evidence 901 to authenticate the video. Look at this flowchart mapping the digital chain of custody. To stand up in court, there must be a documented, unbroken trail proving the file moved directly from the original recording device to the evidentiary record without alteration. Bystanders rarely follow forensic protocols. They text the video to friends, compress it on messaging apps, or upload it to social media. Every transfer fractures the chain of custody, creating gaps that defense attorneys will exploit. Filming the interaction is entirely legal, but the chaotic way that footage is captured, edited, and shared creates a highly volatile evidentiary landscape. Security companies are left navigating completely unpredictable liability. To survive this environment, security professionals must adopt a modern mindset. Operate under the assumption that every significant interaction is already being recorded. This requires specific tactical adjustments in the field. Guards must maintain acute awareness of camera angles, ensure their verbal commands are perfectly clear, and anticipate the exact moment a bystander starts filming. Modern decision-making frameworks must now account for a permanent digital record. Every choice is made with the understanding that an investigator or an attorney is watching from the other side of that lens. Navigating this level of high-definition scrutiny requires specialized, modernized education. Outdated training that ignores the presence of a camera will no longer protect you. At venues serving alcohol, strict compliance is also a legal mandate. Guards must hold specific Dallas law certifications for first aid and de-escalation, right alongside their standard unarmed guard licensing. Comprehensive programs like the Tennessee Bouncer Bundle from Alliance Training and Testing address this directly. They engineer their safe restraint and de-escalation techniques specifically to withstand the pressures of extreme public recording. Today's security professionals must look past the physical confrontation in front of them. They are actively managing the frame.